I'm so smart.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's my son's watch. I don't know how to shut the alarm off, and every day at 2:05 it like beep 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 beep.
Does he know how to shut them off?
No.
Oh.
I mean, like, it's a shitty China watch that we got for like $8. I'm sure I can just like
whack it.
Yeah. But we have it, so I always know when it's 2:05.
Yeah.
That was my kid coughing. I don't know if you heard that.
I feel like I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. Knobs. Ooh. Depends on what floats our boat.
That was awesome.
It was good. The chairs. Well, then you're stealing my job as production manager.
Basically, I'm just a one-woman show now.
Well, like, you don't need me.
Oh, I still need you.
Okay.
If I don't have you, I don't have any friends. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am finally here with Georgia for another Bestie Book Talk. And you know what I was thinking the other day?
Yeah.
It came to me, like after all this time, after all this time of us doing Bestie Book Talks, I'm like, why don't we call it Bestie Book Babble? You know, like alliteration.
I feel like because we'd mess that up. The outtakes would just be us saying
Trying to say that.
Babble. That's why. But I mean, I like
True.
it. It's cute.
But like after all this time, I was always trying to come up with like some sort of cute, like cutesy little name for this, and it eluded me.
I like that.
And same thing, like, cause you know how on my other channel I do like the laundry talks videos where I'm just sitting there folding laundry and I just talk, and I've tried forever to come up with a cute little name for that. And I was like, I'm just gonna call it laundry talks. I don't know what else to call it. And then another girl started doing them, and she called it Laundro Chat. And I'm like,
No, I don't like. I
like
yours.
laundromat, laundromat, laundro chat.
Have you ever been to a laundromat? No.
It's so cutesy. So today we are going to be talking about Stephanie Garber's finale. And we have waited so long for this to come out. And we finally read it. And I don't know about you, but I just like, I loved it so much.
I was on the fence.
Really?
I mean, as in not.
Like you didn't love it quite as much as I did?
Yeah.
Like I messaged her after, I'm like, this is the best book ever.
And I had you finished it before I did, which if you are familiar with our videos, that doesn't happen a lot.
I know.
Somebody's always
Very
cramming,
rarely.
right? But yeah, you finished it before I did, mostly because I was like, I don't want it to end, because I'm worried it'll end in a way that I wasn't happy with.
Yeah.
It's still good. It's still really good. I'm still going to give it like 4 stars.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe I don't feel that way because you reread them all.
Yes.
So, and like I haven't reread them. So I haven't read the first one since whenever we did our Bestie Book Talk.
Forever ago.
Yeah, forever ago. So, and that was part of my issue too, is that I didn't like really want to read this. Like I got this the day it came out.
Yeah.
You got yours the day it came out too.
Yeah.
And, but I was on the fence. I didn't want to read it either because I didn't want it to be over. And then I started it because she had started hers. We picked our date for the Bestie Book Talk. And I was like, okay, I have to read it now. Like, I have to.
Gotta cram.
Yeah, like, do you guys do that? Because I feel like that's a normal thing to do. When you love a series so much and you don't want it to end, you're just like putting off that last book. I did that with Harry Potter too.
Oh, I do that with TV series.
Do you?
Yeah, I think Stranger Things. I still haven't finished the second season because I'm like, no.
But
I don't want
another
to.
season.
I know, but I'm still like, no. What if it's not as good? That's what I do. I'm special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Thanks.
But what was I going with that?
Something
I don't know.
about that you didn't want it to end.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So then as I'm reading it, I'm like texting her and I'm like, hey, I'm at this part, like, and I love this so much, I don't want it to end. And she was like, I think there's gonna be another book.
I really did.
Yeah, and I was like, really? And then like if you guys have read this, like in the very beginning, on like the first page, what does it say about endings? Every story has 4 parts: the beginning, the middle, the almost ending, and the true ending. So she was like, I think there's going to be another book. And I was like, really? Like, oh, awesome. But you were what when you said that, like halfway or 3/4 of the way through? Or
Well, that, and I had just reread the first 2 books, and it's mentioned in both books.
Oh.
Or I know for sure it is in the second one. Now my memory is fading a little bit.
But there's an almost ending and a true ending?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's mentioned. And that's why I was like, it can't just wrap up.
Yeah.
There needs to be more.
But apparently this was supposed to be just a duology in the beginning, and then they added this 3rd book.
How do you have 2 books? No.
Yeah, so then they added this 3rd book. So I feel like they probably won't add another one, especially now that everything has wrapped up. I'm assuming that if you guys are watching this and you've already read this book, and if you have not read this book, like click out and don't watch this until you have read this book, because we're going to be going in-depth conversation about it today. But yeah, so she gave me like all this hope. I was like, oh, she thinks there's going to be another book. So I was like, okay, now I'm just going to like fly through it thinking that there might be another one. And like my fears of, having it be the last one, they went away, because I was like, oh, there might be another book. And then I read it. And I realized there's not going to be another one. Or I don't know how she would do another one. Like, it wouldn't, she wrapped everything up pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
But I feel as though she has become one of my favorite authors. Like, especially this was her debut series. Like,
good job.
Yeah,
I'd happily read
she's going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think. She is I think she'll do great things. And I'm like, why are they making these into movies? Like, these would be such great movies, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But I thought for sure that this book was going to, because the first one follows Scarlett, the second one follows Tella, and I thought the third one was going to be more about their mother. I thought for sure it was either going to follow their mother and then...
It kind of did.
But she died right away in the beginning.
Yeah, but then they have to like figure out all this stuff about her. They still didn't know how.
I thought that the book was going to be her, like how it was in each person's perspective, I thought the book was going to be in her perspective. I did not think she was going to die right away. Like, that came as a surprise.
I also was like, what the fuck? That does not make sense.
Yeah, because in the first, couple of chapters, she dies.
She gets murdered.
Yeah. And then, also, when we find out that Scarlett and Donatella are not they're sisters, but they're half-sisters, right? Yeah. That one really surprised me, too. That didn't surprise you?
No.
Yeah, it definitely surprised me. Like when they're like, when she got kidnapped by her father, I was like, oh my God, what are they bringing him back into this story for, right? Like, I thought it was her father from the last book. So, I mean, it definitely made sense that her father was a fate, but I did not see that coming at all.
Okay.
But once again, maybe I should have reread them before I read this, because maybe if I would have reread them again closer to, then I would have.
Well, even after the second one, I was like, I feel like they're not sisters. Like when the queen or the empress or whatever in the second book was like, you look really familiar to Donatella. Let me refresh your memory. When she goes with Jax to
that supper.
And he walks away or whatever, and she's like, you look really familiar. And I was like, why would she look familiar? I mean, we all have that doppelganger.
Yeah.
But just the way that she described how the Empress reacted to her was like, I know you.
Yeah.
Well, obviously she looked like her mom a little bit, but Scarlett looked more like her mom. Like, I feel like if Scarlett had met the Empress, then it would have been a different story. But yeah, they looked so different. And yeah, it happens when you have more than one kid that they look different because they're individuals. But generally speaking, one isn't like black hair, dark skin.
Yes.
And one is fair skin with blonde hair.
Right, that's true.
And like Donatella looked more like her dad.
Yeah. That's true. So anyways.
Yeah, I know.
What happened?
Did she end up with what's his face?
Yeah. Remember Legend gives up his immortality to be with Tella, which one of them we're gonna have to give something up if this is gonna work, right? See, but like I love that in the book, and like that's so romantic and that's so sweet, but then I think about real life and I'm like, can you imagine? Like, what if things don't work out? Like, yeah, they're all in love right now, and he's like, I'm gonna give up my immortality for you, and then like, after a year, after all the cuteness wears off. Yeah, pretty much. After the cutesiness wears off, and then you're like,
The honeymoon phase is gone?
Yeah.
And you're like, you're gross. Pick up your fucking socks.
Yes.
And get out.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, you know? I mean, I guess that's like translated into real life, but.
It is a fantasy story, so let's give it that fantasy that this is the happy ending, right?
That's true.
For a little bit near the end of the book, I was like, oh my god, she's going to be with Jax.
Yeah.
Like this, really? I don't know.
Well, when Jax tricked her into getting married, I was like, oh my god. Like, come on. Because then, like, when they had met that, when they went to meet that person that told her that she was going to have children, she was going to have a daughter. They went to that market.
Oh yeah, the fated market,
yes.
to find that item
yes.
to help them kill the fate and yeah,
and
shopping.
That whatever that was, that person, that thing. I'm done. I'm gonna go home.
We should make notes next time.
We always say this.
No, that one time a couple times I
you did. See, and I just rely on you now.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Like, it's my channel, my video, but like, can you please do all the work?
I mean, I could have wrote stuff out last night, but it would have been more gibberish than it is now. I worked a night shift last night, so
yeah,
I'm sleepy.
I don't know. I really like the book. The end.
Well, okay, so what happened with Julian and
Scarlet? They stayed together.
Kind of was hoping that.
You were hoping they wouldn't stay together?
No, I don't know, for more juice.
But they were like so in love. They're like the perfect couple. Okay, and so you know what? See, and that's the other thing too, is that even in the second book, like when she tells him like, oh, I want to see this Count guy. I want to like see if that's like, that was the only part that it was kind of like unrealistic, because the way that Stephanie had written those two characters in the first book, they were like so in love, like just like love at first sight, and just like they were together, right? And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like you didn't see anything happen, but all of a sudden she's just like, oh, maybe I want to see this other guy if I like him better. Like, really?
I was not impressed with like I'm sure I looked like how Donatella felt when her sister said, I'm gonna go meet this guy. I would have been like, no.
What is wrong with you?
You stupid. That's not okay.
Yeah, like
why?
You have this perfect guy that you're apparently so in love with. And then like how she gets all uppity that he takes off and leaves for 2 weeks and doesn't call her and message her. Oh my god.
Never once did they say anything about iPhone.
Yeah.
I have no data. Yeah.
I guess there's no iPhones.
Okay. Anyway.
Caraval.
It would have made things go a lot smoother. They know where they are. Yeah.
But yeah, like she's all upset that he didn't like try to contact her at all within those 2 weeks. I'm like, you told him out of nowhere that you want to go and meet your other fiance. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you don't even deserve him at this point. But whatever.
Yeah, but they had kind of a back and forth thing. Like the second book, we didn't really hear a lot about Scarlet, but she was mad at him and then not mad at him, and then they were in love, and then she's mad at him. I think that's just their thing. She's just going to be pissed off for like a week at a time, and then a week she's going to be happy. It's pick up your fucking socks.
Yeah.
I hate you. And then the next week is, oh my god, I love you. Let's stare into each other's eyes.
Yeah.
Which makes for good reading. I don't know. You know, boring is bland, and
that's true. We need the last book to be like after the happy ending.
When they're all mad at each other about their household issues,
And see if Legend's actually happy that he gave up his immortality. I'm actually really surprised that he did, because they made him seem like he can never love anybody, and Julian's like, my brother doesn't love me, and all this stuff. Yeah. So I actually was a little bit surprised that they ended up together.
Well, here she's got two guys that are basically assholes. Really.
Yeah.
Legend is an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's his thing for
that's what he's known for. Yeah,
is manipulating people.
Yeah,
and
making women fall in love with him and not returning that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she meets Jax, and it's the same thing. He's an asshole. He threatened to push her off the little sky tram in the first one when she first met him.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of guy does that?
Yeah.
An asshole.
A fate.
Well, I mean, Legend wasn't a fate, and he was an asshole. Okay, the witch. What the hell? Okay, this is a little frustrating. I mean, yes, I really like these books. Mm-hmm. But after the first book, the second book seemed to keep adding little twists to the story. Like, I feel like when there was the story of how Legend got his powers was either that he got it from a fate or the fallen star or some sort of witch. Well, now we find out that it is a witch, and then he goes and takes her powers, but then you hear nothing else about her. How did
She's the one that got killed by the fallen star, and she's that woman that the fallen star brings in and tells Scarlet, by the end of the day you have to change her will.
That wasn't her.
Yeah, it was. He went and stole her from wherever Dante had her locked up. They went and found her after Legend dies. After Legend dies and like the whole community goes into chaos.
Right.
She's still locked up there because that's where Legend had her locked up. And the Fallen Star found her and brought her back because he had a history with her too, right? Because she's one of the fates.
Right.
She was the one that he made her bend her will, change her emotions. Do you remember that scene? That was her.
I remember that scene, but I don't remember that it was the witch.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so the witch is gullible. Yeah.
Yeah. Considering she's this like all-powerful being, yeah.
Steals the powers from one fate or a fallen star to give to Legend.
Yeah.
And then she's manipulated by him?
Yeah.
Like, where is Donatella?
But Legend has that. That's what he's known for. Remember, he's known for being able to trick women into falling in love with him. So this witch was in love with him. Everybody's in love with him. He's apparently the perfect man.
Why, there's a scene in here where Donatella and Legend were together, and I was like, oh my god, this book is about to get juicy.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh boy. Like, why, eh? What is this?
You turn the page because Donatella says something.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what she says, and he's just like, nope.
And you're like, fuck.
And he walks away, and you're like,
I know, all of a sudden you're like, what? This isn't what I signed on for, but I'm kind of like down for this. Like, okay, then it just stops, and you're like, oh, it's YA. That's great.
yeah. And that's, I thought that too in the second book when they were, where were they? In the cathedral district or something, and he was like helping her with her robes and they were touching each other. And I was like, oh,
this is
it.
and
then nothing.
Yeah.
This is a big wind up for nothing.
Yeah, Stephanie Garber might be able to transition into like adult romance really well.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
We're not looking for 50 Shades
Yeah.
of Grey here. Just like, you know.
Yeah, apparently we need to read more adult romance.
I thought I'm happy she ended up with Legend.
Yeah.
Because for a
I'm
little
really
bit.
happy the way it all ended. Like, I just think it ended perfectly. Okay, so what would you change? Because you said you didn't really care for the ending. What would you wish would have happened? Like, you don't really want Scarlett and Julian to be together, or you just want something different?
I wanted more drama in a fourth book.
Yeah.
I
wanted a setup for a fourth book.
Yeah, I wanted the witch to come back to life because, you know, that's what they do here.
Some sort of twist that will be like, all of a sudden, yeah, there's
another book. You know, Scarlett gets kidnapped this time.
Basically, the book starts off with Donatella being upset with Legend. They are not together anymore, but he's visiting her and he's in her dreams. Right?
That seems cool.
Which, yeah, okay. And then, but it's the one thing that I didn't really understand was that she seemed to forgive him pretty quickly. Like, in the very beginning, like, she was just so like, he betrayed me. I can't believe he did this. But it's like, after only like one meeting, she's like, back in love with him, right? Like, he really did betray her pretty well.
So did Julian to Scarlett. Twice, 3 times, whatever.
Maybe these girls just have really bad taste in men.
I don't know. These guys are written so well that I'm like, yep,
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yep.
that's true.
Take your shirt off. It's
yeah. I mean, yes, they're written to be attractive for sure, but they're also written to be assholes, which is also like women love assholes generally. Like
generally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I prefer someone who's assertive. which sometimes can get translated into assholeism. Is that a word? Let's go with
Assholeism. It is now. It's a Georgia-ism.
Ooh. Yeah, but that's like their thing. They built up even in the first book we meet Julian and he's this dirty sailor.
Yeah, and like really aloof and really like
that's just
somebody that you can't count on, but he like kind of changes he appears to me to be a completely different character at the end of this book than he did in the beginning, whereas Legend pretty much stayed the same. The only thing that changed at the very end was when he decided that he wanted to be with Tella so much that he would give up his powers. But because in the beginning he was like, Julian was such a dink.
I don't know, like,
you don't think so? I think in the beginning, like, he was just like such a jerk, and I didn't like him in the first book. Like, and when she started falling for him, I was kind of like, he is a jerk. Like, what are you doing? And I did not like him. But then by the end of this one, I feel like he changed so much. Julian did. No, you don't think so?
I think it was shortly after she got in the first book into the game that I was like, oh, he likes her.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's stupid sometimes, but he really likes her.
Yeah.
Whereas Legend, it took me till the end of the second book that I was like, even though he left,
yeah,
he really likes her and he's conflicted because how does he say goodbye to his old life, so to speak, or parts of his magical powers?
My question also is, when he gives up his immortality, does he lose all his magic? Like, is he just a normal human now?
No, he just can't die and come back.
Okay, so everything stays the same.
I think so.
That was one thing that I felt wasn't clear in the book. Like,
yeah, so now he's just an ordinary Joe, and he's gonna get a job at Walmart.
Right. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, like I feel like that part wasn't really clear, unless I just didn't read that part. But you didn't probably read that either.
I hope she does write more books, not necessarily about this world that she built.
Yeah, I think anything that she does next, I will pick up.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I think she's a great author, and I think like this being her first, like her debut novel, like crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy good.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think reading them back to back is a good way to go because they flow pretty well within each other.
Yeah.
Out of all the books I think we've read as our Bestie Book Talks, I do like this series.
Yeah.
I mean, we read one really bad stinker.
Yeah.
But
well, kind of too. This next one wasn't that great either.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah.
But for like entertainment purposes,
yes,
really.
True.
I would read this series again.
Yeah. So
wow, this was I feel like we're done.
I feel like
what more can we talk about?
I feel like we didn't talk about it at all, really.
No. We really like this book. If you haven't already read the first and second one, get off your ass.
Why are you watching this video?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. This is book 3. Get with it. But like read them.
Yeah.
It was a good read. I'd happily read anything she wrote again. She's a great world builder without too much description, yet you knew exactly where you're at.
Yeah. I have a really hard time with like high fantasy reads. I can't really do it because I can't, like when it's like so descriptive and it's so like my brain does not, I gloss over that and then I just make it up in my mind, right? It has to be like, you have to describe it just in the right way where it's not too much because I can't
or not
read
enough.
that much description. Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
So
I liked her style. Everything was I knew exactly where I was while reading it. And then like we had read even books in between these ones and we talked about the world building, like what a difference. She's very good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I came away from this honestly, like after I was done this, I like went into my boyfriend was playing on his computer and I was just like and he's like, good book, and I'm like like I wanted to like snuggle with it. Like I'm such a weirdo. Like I have maybe more of an obsession with books than I probably should have. That's probably not normal. But whatever. It's fine.
Is this your intervention?
Whatever, I'm fine. Like that You know that meme of that dog that's like in that burning building? He's like, this is fine.
No, I haven't seen that. That's you?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's me. All the time. This is fine. I'm fine.
Did we get enough backstory on how the fallen star became a fallen star?
No, see, and that whole thing, like the whole world of the fates is one thing. I don't know, like I said, like sometimes I gloss over things if I find it to be a little bit dry or a little bit boring, which is why I don't read a lot of description. But I almost wonder if I did that with this book. Was that in here and I just glossed over it a little bit? Because I feel as though I don't really know a whole bunch about the fates and how they were made and like...
The fallen star, if I remember correctly...
Because he's just a fate too, isn't he? But he's like the strongest one or the most powerful one.
Yeah, or something to that effect. And he made the fates as his entertainment.
Oh.
And the fates used humans as their entertainment, if I'm remembering correctly. And that's why they're so gruesome, because he's a horrible person.
So the fallen star made the fates. I thought that the witch made all the fates and he was just a fate.
See? Confusion.
Yeah, I don't know, but I could be wrong.
I thought that's what
But
it
why
was.
did the witch make all the fates in the first place? Or did the witch just make legend and the fallen star made all the fates?
Like, was the witch and the fallen star like brother and sister? And she's like, I don't like you. I'm going to take your toys.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah. See, yeah. So that's one part that I feel maybe could have had a little bit more clarification.
Maybe I'll read it again.
But maybe she did clarify and I just didn't pay attention.
Well, yeah.
I'm a real booktuber.
Yeah. It's the introduction of all these characters and their backstory, but you almost want the books to be 200 pages more each book.
Yeah.
Just to get a little bit more.
I flew through this. And I don't know if it's just because, like, I mean, she's chunky. You know, she's not little, but I think the writing is big too. And so I found myself, like, I'd be like, okay, I have 10 minutes. I'm going to sit down and read for 10 minutes. And I would get through so much of it. And I read it in no time. I read it in a couple days, like, without even trying.
Yeah.
And it's very rare for a book to do that for me. Like, typically I'm like, you know, I'm over here and I'm like, oh, okay, if I like just buckle down, I can get through this, you know, and I'm just like trying to get through it. But all of a sudden I reached the end before I even realized what was happening. And I was like, it's ending, no.
Yeah,
you know?
I had
It's
that.
very rare that I have that happen.
That's only ever really happened to me with these books. Like in my Kindle, it's got like the little how many hours you have left based on your pace.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I looked down at the bottom and I was like, fuck, I only have an hour left to read this book.
Yeah.
And then every other time I pick it up, I'm like,
yeah, I just wanted to see, especially after I messaged her, because once I finished it before her, I'm like, remember when you said there's going to be a fourth book? There's freaking not. Like, there's not going to be a fourth book.
way to kill it for me. At least I built you up to have a fourth book, and you were just like,
like,
no.
sorry to ruin your life, but.
And then it was like, I guess I have an hour left.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the last book that did that for me was the Harry Potter series. I don't remember another book in between where I actually was like, oh my god, I don't want this to end, and like getting to the end and being like, no, like I'm always excited to finish books, and I'm like, woohoo, you know, but like this, I was like, I wish it would have been longer. Like this book could have probably never been long enough for me. I loved it.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Couple hundred more pages.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. But I feel like it was really well done. I don't know. Like,
They all tied in together well enough.
Yes. I did notice too, and I don't know if it's maybe because, so in the first book, we really get to know Scarlet and we follow her on her journey. And in the second book, we really get to know Donatella. And this one, it definitely was more based on Donatella. Like they were both in the book, but it definitely was more based on Donatella, which I found was kind of strange a little bit.
Is that why you thought the mom would play a bigger part?
Maybe. I really thought that this book was going to be from the mother's perspective. I thought the whole book was going to be from the mother's perspective.
You know, what's too bad is it wasn't from Legend's perspective.
See, and I'm just kicking myself so much because if you're a huge Stephanie Garber fan, like I have her on Instagram, and before this released, she had put out, I guess it was in the UK editions, all had, like at the back, there's a chunk that's from Legend's perspective. Yeah, and I'm kicking myself for not ordering it. Like I don't think
What?
Yeah, it was just in the UK. I don't think you can even get it now. but it's like a special edition copy, and I think it was a chapter or two from Legend's perspective, and I like need that in my life. And I'm so upset, especially because I love this one as much as I did. Like, I was thinking about ordering it, and I just never did. But now, like, if I would have known how much I actually loved this book, I would have loved to have that.
Not impressed.
I know.
But yeah, see, I thought maybe because of the perspective thing, it would have been fun if it was from Dante's, or I like Dante.
Dante/Legend.
I like calling him Dante's.
Well, you guys, I guess that's pretty much it. We both feel as though we didn't really go into too much depth of this because we can't remember what happened.
But we liked it.
Yeah, even though we just read it a week ago. So we are awesome at booktubing. But I definitely recommend this one. I gave it like 10 out of 5 stars. I was in love with it. You said 4?
Yeah, 4. Only just because more information. And I think I had the same complaint about the second book, whereas I wish I had a little bit more detail. Mm-hmm. But still a good read. I will definitely reread this series again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely recommend it. Pick it up. Like, if you guys have read the first 2, which I imagine you have if you're watching this, you've probably already read this anyways, but we really enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts on it were. This was my favorite of the series. Which one was your favorite?
The first one.
The first one was your favorite?
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments down below which one was your favorite. And yeah, we'll see you in our next Bestie Book Talk. We're not sure which one we're going to do yet, but we'll let you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, we change our minds. So, I mean, like,
that's true.
It could be a surprise, and then we'll change it anyway. We've done that a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. It's fine. Okay. Read this book. We loved it.
We did.
We love you. Have a good day. See you in our next video. Bye.